What's up everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video, we're going to be going over game key cards. And I have talked about this in the past, but some recent information has come up that I want to discuss, because I don't want people to think that every company that uses game key cards are greedy and they're only doing it to save money and they don't think about the players, because in reality that's not true. There's a lot of companies that use game key cards because their games will not look near as good and probably can't even run at all on a normal card. So we're going to be diving into all of that in this video. Recently, someone important at Square Enix, the company behind Final Fantasy VII, made a post explaining something really important. They explained why Final Fantasy VII had to be released on a game key card instead of a normal cartridge. And this is huge because for a long time people thought game cards were just lazy or cheap or anti-physical, but what they said shows that sometimes game key cards are not a choice, they are a requirement. And that leads us into understanding the real difference between normal game cards and game key cards. Here's the most important technical difference. When you use a normal game card, the game is actually running off the card itself. That means the card has to store the game, the card has to stream the data, the card has to be fast enough to keep up. The card is doing part of the work. So the cartridge is not just storage, it's actually being used while you play. But when you use a game key card, the card does almost nothing. It basically says, hey console, you're allowed to download this game. So the game installs onto the console's internal storage, and then the game runs off the console instead of the card. So normal card, game runs from the card. Game key card, game runs from the console. That difference is extremely important. According to Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII is very large, very complex, very demanding, constantly pulling data, and needs fast memory access. If they tried to make it run from a normal cartridge, the cartridge would not be able to handle it. Not it would look worse. Not it would load slower. But it would not probably work. So Square Enix had to choose. Don't release it physically at all, use a game key card so it can install and run from the console. They chose option 2. So for Final Fantasy VII, game key card equals the only way a physical version exists, which is actually better than digital only forever. Now, here's where things get controversial. Not every game is like Final Fantasy VII. Some games are smaller, are simpler, don't need massive streaming, could work on a normal card, and yet some companies still use game key cards. Anyway, why? Money. More game cards cost more expensive to manufacture, more expensive materials, more expensive storage chips. Game key cards are cheaper, very little storage, just a licensed key, cheaper to produce. So some companies look at this and say, why spend more money on real cartridges when we can just use game key cards, even if their game could run on a normal card? So now we know there are two completely different reasons for game key cards. Reason 1, technical reason, the game literally cannot work on a normal card. Reason 2, business reason, the company wants to save money. And those two things are not the same at all. Here's something important that people forget. Without game key cards, some games would not be physically at all. They would only be digital downloads. Some game key cards still give us a box, a cartridge, something to collect, something to lend, something to resell, something that still feels physical. So while they are not preferred, they are still better than download only, no cartridge. For games like Final Fantasy VII, game key cards are actually saving physical media. Now let's talk about Nintendo. There's an upcoming Pokemon game called Pokémon Pokopia, and it is confirmed to be a game key card. And that's concerning, because Pokemon games are usually not super demanding, and usually fit on cartridges, and usually don't need massive streaming. So this probably isn't a technical limitation, like Final Fantasy VII, which means this is most likely a business decision. And that suggests something important. Nintendo might be testing us. They want to know, will people still buy it? Will fans be upset? Will sales drop? Or will nobody care? This is basically a test run. If we do this once, we can do it again. If Pokemon Pokopia sells really well as a game keycard, that tells Nintendo this is acceptable, and then more Nintendo games could become game keycards. More downloads become required, fewer true physical games exist, game preservation becomes harder, ownership becomes weaker. Instead of buying a game and putting it in your system, you're buying permission to download it. And that is not the same thing. Physical games are supposed to work without internet. Game keycards still need downloads, and that changes what physical means. Some people say, why doesn't Nintendo just make their consoles have way more internal storage? Because that would make the console way more expensive. Storage costs money. More storage, higher prices. If Nintendo made a console with massive internal memory, the price would go up. Fewer people would buy it. Nintendo would lose their affordable image. So Nintendo is stuck with limited storage, expensive cartridges, modern, massive games. Game keycards are the compromise, but again, that compromise makes sense for some games, not all games. So the real problem is not game keycards exist. The real problem is how they are used. If a game needs a game keycard, that's understandable. If a company uses it only to save money, that's where people get upset. Final Fantasy VII game keycard is necessary. Pokemon Pokopia game keycard is questionable. One is survival, one is strategy. We are at an important moment. Game keycards can go one of two ways. Option 1, they stay a special solution for special games. Option 2, they become the new normal. If they become normal, true physical games slowly disappear, not all at once, but over time. First a few games, then more, then most games, and eventually physical just means download key in a box. And that's why people care so much about this now, because that's Nintendo does today, affects what physically games look like tomorrow. So, overall, the point is, don't be mad at all games for choosing game keycard. And understand, you just gotta understand, that some games really need a game keycard. For some games, like Final Fantasy VII, it is either digital only or no physical at all. So, some games really do need one, and other games do not and are in it for the money. And a great example is Final Fantasy VII and Pokemon Pokopia. Final Fantasy VII is a game that needs to be game keycard, or else it won't work physically. But Pokemon Pokopia is a game that does not need to be a game keycard at all, and the fact that it is outrageous. It is Nintendo literally just testing us. Hey, will you still buy this? And we probably will. I am very excited for this game, and we'll get it, but Nintendo is basically forcing me and other people into this position of, well, what do? We don't want to support this act of, testing us, dangling a fish in front of us, and if we do grab the fish, that means more game keycards. So we don't want to support it, but that also means missing out on the game Nintendo is making. The thing that Nintendo is giving us for fun, that means we would be missing out on it. So it kind of puts us in a bad situation. Long story short, Final Fantasy, good game keycard, need to be that way. Pokemon Pokopia, terrible game keycard, because Nintendo is literally dangling a fish in front of our face, because that's a game keycard. I hope you liked this video, and if you've made it this far, maybe consider leaving a like, subscribing, helps out way more than you realize. And yeah, there's some good news and good parts about game keycards, but they do suck, and it does worry me for the future. But at the same time, you gotta realize that sometimes for a game to actually work and be on the console, you have to make it a game keycard. So, yeah. Again, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, helps out a ton. Peace out.